Hey everyone, UB here, and today we're going to work on a Fallout-inspired costume. So let's get started. So, the truth is, I'm actually not a huge Fallout fan, only because the games make me motion sick. However, my little brother and my partner are both super into Fallout, and so with the new Amazon Prime show coming out, I wanted to do some sort of something for it, and my partner kind of helped me decide what to do. I wasn't planning on sewing this week, but the opportunity kind of presented itself, and this video isn't sponsored, but I did want to take advantage of sort of the organic reach that this sort of topic would have, so diving in, I actually already had 2 of these yellow zippers in my stash, so it worked out really well that the Vault Dweller suits have yellow and blue. I went to Joann's and found this very bright blue fabric. It's the only fabric that really screamed Vault Dweller to me as I was looking through their aisles. Looking at it now, it might be a little bright, but I think it really just embodies the bobbleheads that I've seen that are Fallout themed. So we're gonna go with it. I also have a number of golds in my stash, and so we're gonna be using an old bed sheet that I found at Goodwill a number of months ago for the more yellow portions of the suit. The only thing that kinda sucks about the blue fabric is that it is a stretch fabric, and you all know from the Calcifer video how much I love stretch fabrics. However, that does mean that it's gonna be a little more forgiving if I get the sizing wrong or what have you, so I guess the universe has plans for me. With that being said, I'm not just making a Vault Dweller suit. My partner Nathaniel was actually the one to pitch doing a Vault Dweller suit. I think he just really was leaning into the sewing vibes that have been going on in the house lately. And I think it was a more off-the-cuff sort of thing that he knew would be a good reference to Fallout. But since he brought it up, I think what I'm gonna do is make a jacket that looks like the Vault Dweller suit. I know that the suits are actually like a full body suit, but we're going to split it up into a kind of bomber style jacket. So there's a chance that he could wear this every day rather than having to wait for a costumed occasion. And if there's enough fabric, I might make another one for either myself or my little brother. I haven't decided yet. With that being said, what I did here is I started by printing off a lot of reference photos from the internet. I took a lot of screenshots of the Prime Video series trailer, and I'm really excited about all of the high quality images I was able to get because I was a little worried that I wouldn't be able to get both the front and the back. Then I went through my pile of clothes to be mended, and every now and again Nathaniel has a shirt that will have a hole in it that wouldn't really be great to fix, so instead I put it in this pile so that if I have a project like this, I can take that old beat-up shirt apart and know exactly what the pieces I'm gonna need are going to look like and what my measurements need to look like. So what I'm going to do is cut these apart at the seams very carefully and then create a paper pattern for myself so that I can adjust and remake as necessary. What you can see me doing here, and I didn't talk about it much when I was filming, is I'm cutting out pieces to create a fleece lining out of. I actually used quite a bit of batting and basically used up what was in my stash before I changed to a gray fleece, but One of the things that I want to highlight here is a method I'm using where when I don't have a piece that's big enough to just cut what I need out of one chunk, I basically move my cutter back and forth to create this wavy line, and that wavy line will come together in the middle of the piece that I'm trying to piece together. It just makes it a lot easier for these pieces to fit nicely. All right, welcome to day 2. I finally have all of my fabric all cut. Usually that takes me the longest, and then we can get into the really fun stuff. So I've got my lining and my stuffing or backing or whatever you want to call it cut, and those will get sewn together into one piece, and then the outer portion will get sewn together separately, and then we'll put them together. So let's get started. Here you can see 2 pieces where I didn't have any big enough chunks to create them, so I used that wavy line technique in the middle of both. This is something that my mom does when she's quilting, and that's the only reason I knew about it. This was my first time playing on a serger that my mom actually gave me. She recently upgraded hers, and so I inherited this one. And I used it quite a lot in this project because I wanted everything to stay together, especially because now I'm going to send it to my little brother, and he lives out of state, so I don't want him to have to make any repairs on it after I send it out. There were a lot of pleats in this project. That's what these folds are called. And it was a lot of fun to do, but also very tedious. It created a texture that the Vault Dweller suits have on their chest and the sides of their arms. In the show, the ridges on those suits are a little bit more dense, but considering the amounts of this fabric that I had in my stash, I was a little bit more sparse with my pleats. Little stingray! And here I'm just trimming the excess off of the ends of the sleeves so that I have a nice straight edge to work with when I put the cuffs on. Speaking of cuffs, that's what we're doing next, and I used a little bit of elastic in the middle of each one. I definitely could have done this a little more carefully and neatly, but it turned out all right in the end. It wasn't until editing this video that I realized the irony of creating a bomber-style jacket for a Fallout video, but I really like it. I don't think I fully achieved the bomber style by the end, but I think it is very true to the Vault Dweller suits, and so I'm very happy with it. These are the slightly smaller pleats that are going to go into the chest pieces of the suits. This is another step that I could have been a little more careful on, but at a certain point, all of these layers started to get to me, and I really was a little sloppy because of that. And there is the finished shell, aside from some hand sewing, which you'll see me do a little bit of in a minute, to make that strip of pleating come up and over the shoulder. I always think hand sewing is more of a couch sort of task than anything. And it's pocket time! I never really got the hang of pockets in the past, but these turned out pretty well. I'm not sure what I did differently, but I'll have to take a very close look next time I have a project with pockets. The serger was so great for this part of the project. Good morning. It's day 3, and last night I did a handful of serging. I'll kind of show that off. So I serged all of the seams inside of here, but the thing is I got a little crazy on where the yellow and the blue come together here, and so I kind of mashed it up for like 4 inches. Lesson learned, go nice and slow on the serger, but that means I'm just gonna have to put together a new strip, reinstall it, reserge it, and then I can install the blue part of the collar here, install the zipper, and then it's time for the final construction. So that's what I'm going to work on today, and hopefully I can get this finished today so I can get this video out for you by Thursday, which is when the Amazon Prime show is coming out. Let's get started. All right, well, I basically have the outer portion of the suit done. The zipper's all installed. It has the neck cuff, like the collar. That's probably what it's called. And so we basically have a base coat here. The bottom here will get cleaned up when I put the lining in. And honestly, I don't think I'm gonna have a lot of finishing stitches to do here. Fancy. But what I'm a little stuck on right now are all of the little ports and hardware that seem to be on the show's suits. Not to mention the vault number on the back of Lucy's sweater. I think there's no other way other than to applique, but then again, maybe an iron-on would make more sense. I might need to take a trip to the craft store. Meanwhile, I need to figure out these little gray ports and snaps that the suit has. Yesterday I asked Nathaniel to help me out with those ports because they looked really simple to 3D print, but I don't think he actually got around to it, and he's back to work today. Part of me is tempted to sculpt them and then maybe make a resin mold. I don't know. What we'll do first is go to the craft store, see what they've got maybe for buckles that I can use, and then we'll come back here and see what needs installing. We're so close to the end, I just want to make sure that I get all of the details right.
These were the buckles that Joanne's happened to have, and I thought they were just the right size and shape for what we needed. So I sanded them down to make some paint stick a little bit better, and then did a light dry brushing of silver to make them the right color. It's at this point that my serger decided that it was over the amount of layers I was trying to put through it, so I had to go back to my regular old sewing machine, and I started to put all of my seams together to do the final construction. Unfortunately, I realized after I did all of this sewing that because of how the zipper functioned, it didn't come apart in two pieces, or at least I thought it didn't. I had to seam rip a lot of what I had just done and take it all apart so that I could actually get it to turn inside out the way I needed it to. I was so low at this point. But after getting everything seam ripped, I went in with a needle and thread and I just hand sewed the sleeves in order to make this process a little more simple. The next day, I took everything home, trimmed off the bottom of the jacket, and got that sewn together, pinned, all of that good stuff. At this point, I was really taking my time on everything I did so that I didn't have to redo anything again. And at that point, my regular sewing machine was having issues, so I took out the backup sewing machine, which my mom was also so sweet to have given me a number of months ago. And without her generosity, this project would not have been finished.
Alright, so it's like day 4 of making this jacket, and I didn't think it was going to take so long. Amazon Prime announced yesterday that they're going to release the Fallout series a day early, so I really have to get this done. Basically, the base construction of the jacket is done. I need to add the little ports that they have on their Vault Dweller suits onto the jacket. Those are being worked on. Nathaniel actually surprised me and got them working on the 3D printer, so it'll be nice to do a similar sort of paint job on the 3D printed parts, which are being worked on now. And lastly, I need to put the vault number on the back of the jacket. The vault that Lucy comes from in the new Amazon Prime show appears to be vault number 33. So I think that's what we're going to go with. Let's get this wrapped up.
I used a little bit of clear nail polish to protect these pieces just because I was on a time crunch. Otherwise, I probably would have used a spray clear coat. And I don't know what possessed me to try fabric paint for the numbers on the back instead of a transfer, but that's what I tried.
So, this yellow paint looks like trash, and you can quote me on that. I think what we're gonna do instead is what I originally talked about, just applique the 33 on top. And because I've already painted the shapes on here, I'm going to take some painter's tape and sort of get a template of what these threes look like, and then cut out based off of that template, because I don't have any tracing paper. So let's get this last piece of the piece done. What a finale. I can't believe that I finished this on time, more or less. It is Wednesday and I am currently doing the edit, and I'm just so excited to be done with the project. I'm actually going to end up giving it to my little brother as a little bit of an early birthday present. Like I said, he's a big fan of Fallout, and I think he's gonna really appreciate it. This was a project full of firsts for me, from just making a jacket in general to installing my first zipper, installing pockets successfully for the first time because they have always given me guff, and successfully making cuffs on the sleeves of the jacket. So all of those were fresh. I'm sure there were other things on here that I hadn't done before, but overall, a huge bunch of firsts, and I think it turned out pretty good. Definitely not cosplay quality, don't get me wrong, but for being a functional piece of clothing that's going to keep someone very warm, trust me, I was very warm filming out there. I think it looks great. It definitely achieves the goal it was set out to do. So, thank you so much for getting to the end of this video. Here's 1,000 experience points just for that. You're a rock star. Thank you so much to all of my patrons. We've got Mark, Nathaniel, Twyla, and Liam, my OGs, and Liz and Fluffy as well. If you'd like to join them in supporting my journey, please go to patreon.com/ubdraws. I've got all sorts of freebies on there, and eventually I would love to put up a printable pattern for this jacket. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm not sure when I'll be back, but I will be back with another crazy project eventually, so follow me on Facebook, Instagram, all those good things. And don't forget to drink some water, and I will talk to you again soon. Peace!